Okay, sorry. That's just a little sales tangent for me that I've always wondered about. Um, but I would kind of hit on it in the intro a little bit. But you guys have remind me again, how long has it been since you guys came to the States?
Yeah, so we expanded to New York almost 3 years ago. So the
Okay.
beginning of 2022.
Okay.
That is almost 3 years ago. We came to the city. We visited a trade show, which was in the construction field. We
Mm,
did not know what to expect. We didn't know anybody in the market. We did no outreach. It was just, let's go to New York. Let's feel the vibe. Let's listen to some panels. Let's see what's happening in the construction industry and kind of get an understanding if people feel the need of the services that we are providing. And
mm,
that's how it all started out. So 3 years ago. And I remember the day perfectly well because I told my business partner, Michael, I said, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Listening into these panels and hearing people talk about energy transition in buildings and electrification, I was like, oh God, this is spot on. Now we have to kind of, how do we get to these people? And there was one person that I thought would be very, very valuable for us to speak to. And I
mhm.
remember he was sitting on a panel, he was on stage, and there were like 100 people like people around him trying to talk to him. And I just grabbed him by the arm and pulled him over. And I was like, hey, we're from Germany, and we need to explain you something. You need to take yourself 5 minutes now and listen in. And that kind of was exactly the person we needed to talk to. And the rest was kind of history, which
Yeah,
I
that's
can
kind of kicked
dive
it all
into
off.
later. Yeah.
Love it. Well, kind of talk to me about, some of that growth. Because I would have to imagine that. Did you feel like when you first came over to the States, did that feel like a little bit intimidating because you're not only breaking a whole new territory, but you're breaking a whole new country and continent? Was that intimidating at all, or were you just more excited, or how'd you feel?
It was mixed feelings. It
Mm,
was at first for me, obviously not knowing what to expect in the construction world and not being from the MEP or HVAC industry.
yeah.
I was completely excited. I was enthusiastic. I was reaching out to people, cold calling, emailing, meeting people, telling them about all these great stories. My business partner was, on the other hand, he was kind of frightened of the
Mm,
size and the massiveness of New York City.
yeah.
It's as things start to kick off and the that stone starts rolling,
Yeah.
then it can become easily very overwhelming just due to the massive market that New York City has. To give some key numbers of New York, so New York City has 1 million buildings in
Yeah.
the five boroughs. That's just New York City. It's Manhattan, Queens, Staten Island, Bronx, and Brooklyn. And from those 1 million buildings, there's a law that came or was set in 2019, which required every building larger than 25,000 square foot to comply with a so-called Local Law 97, which is for every building that is emitting carbon per square foot will pay a certain fine.
Wow.
And that number of buildings is our market. It's
Mhm.
55,000 buildings. So to my business partner, Michael, was if Kevin now sells all these projects, like how do we take care of that? How do we
Yeah.
handle that? And it's exciting because the market is huge. It's also very challenging because how do we build up resources so
Mhm.
quick because targets are very, very ambitious in New York.
Yeah. Well, 100%, because the thing that I think people can lose sight of sometimes is that, yeah, you want to be successful, you want to get a bunch of business all the time, right? But you want it to be very manageable, sustainable growth. You don't want to go from, 0 to 100 all of a sudden, and then you don't have the systems or the support staff or whatever else, the resources to manage all that work, right? So, because you guys have gone, like we said, from zero to 40 building projects now this year, right? This last year. So, how have you guys managed such incredible growth?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we in Germany obviously have some backbone,
Mm,
since it's a family business that was founded 60 years ago.
yeah.
There was some substantial workforce already in place, and as we expanded to New York, we did have that backbone. We're obviously growing in the market, hiring local workforce,
Yeah.
but we have our engineers in Germany, so we could always rely on our partner company in Germany when we needed assistance in handling a market of this size. So that was kind of the business kind of had its status from a European perspective already that we could rely on. So going from 0 to 40 was it was manageable. But
Okay.
going now from 40 to 100, that's now the challenge we're facing as a company, especially here in the US. We
Hmm.
have to find